So I wanted to have a chat. And this chat's going to be stream of consciousness, sort of free flow all over the place. But the idea is to present my excitement, discomfort, and anxiety about the future and technology and the changing world that we're all living in. And that sounds a bit ridiculous because the world is always evolving, it's always devolving and changing in ways that are dynamic. But I really do feel like we are at a point in time, a point in history in terms of humanity where there are some pretty crazy and exciting things happening on the technological front. And while it's easy to get bogged down by non trivial sort of human politics and macro events that are happening in our lifetime that are really affecting people in both positive and negative ways. What I'm looking at is what humans are achieving in terms of life sciences, physics, and a lot of this is spurred by the advent of AI, or at least the demonstration that AI is now at a point where all of us, whether you like it or not, are going to be using it in our day-to-day lives. And so for a long time, the last couple of years, I've been using this channel to do sort of reactions to music and hot takes on bands. And I think that's been a fun thing for most people who subscribe to this channel to sort of see me react to things. And I'm going to be continuing to do that. Music is one of my passions, and I love discovering new music with all of y'all. But on the back burner, my real passion is healthcare and working with people, especially that have psychiatric illnesses. Now, some of you may know this about me. I've talked about it a little bit on my channel early on, but it's not something I talk about day to day. And coinciding with that passion is also a real desire to take what I do, or at least take the industry that I'm involved in, and sort of better it, bring it to the forefront of the technological advances that are happening right now in terms of AI. Because I do feel like there's better ways to address patient care, give patients more advocacy, and help them really connect with both their providers, their family, and the community in a more seamless way. And I've been like struggling the last year or two because I have this ambition inside of me that's also sort of like wanting to do something, and it feels like it's hard to break out of the system that's already been created for us, both from a really large kind of macro sense, but also like in the healthcare system itself. And there are so many obstacles. One of them being HIPAA, another being just the overburdening of the system with like very sort of like large operational machinery, if you can think about it that way, where it's very hard to get things done. And that's also, you can look at the same thing in the U.S. government right now. It's tough to get things done. And I told you I was going to be rambling, but I promise you there's a central thesis here. So going back to this feeling that I've had, I've been wanting to do something in terms of entrepreneurship and leveraging some of these AI tools that we have now at our fingertips to hopefully address some of these gaps in patient care. And also not just patient care, but also workload for nurses, hospital techs, doctors, OT, physical therapists, speech language pathologists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pharmacists. Sorry if I didn't shout you out, but essentially there's total gaps in the way we connect with patients and let patients also advocate for themselves. And a big part of our job is, using these sort of EMRs, these, for people that are not in healthcare, there's these back end sort of tools that we as healthcare workers use, it seems like all the time, to chart on our patients, both for legal reasons and for communication reasons, in terms of just being able to like share data quickly with other interdisciplinary parts of the hospital. And for the most part, it is somewhat efficient, depending on what kind of EMR you have. But for the patient, it probably looks like, hey, my nurse or my doctor or provider, whatever, is spending a lot of time staring at a screen, not talking to me. And at the end of it, I leave the visit or I leave the hospital and I get like a packet, of paper, and those are my objectives. I need to get those things done. Now, for psychiatry, sort of branching off a little bit, what makes that even more challenging is sometimes you leave the hospital and you're, through lots of different feedback loops, not able to provide the best care for yourself. You're uncertain of the direction you're going into. And even something as simple as just medication management's tough. Now, without going into the multitude of factors why that might be, I do feel like there are at least some modern tools we could equip patients with. And I have some ideas on how to sort of rectify this and provide people with an easier way to sort of streamline what happened in the hospital and the next steps you should take as a patient to understand exactly where you're at and to continue your care, both for your body and your mental mind. And I just think we're at this amazing time in history where humans now have autonomy to leverage these tools like ChatGPT to diagnose themselemselves in a way and then bring that to a primary care physician or a specialist and be like, hey, these are the symptoms I'm experiencing, or hey, I haven't been taking my medication for these last couple months. Here's what I've been experiencing, and here's what the system thinks. Here's like a blueprint of what could be going wrong. Now, a lot of you are skeptical probably. You're going, oh my God, why would you input your symptoms on something like ChatGPT? Fair. But there's many different anecdotes in the last year to last months where these tools are so good at recognizing signs, symptoms, and being able to sort of prompt the user, prompt the patient in a general direction. Think of it as like a very advanced WebMD. And WebMD way back in the day was sort of a bane for both patients and for doctors because people would overly diagnose themselves, end up in the ER, and then realize like, hey, I overreacted, right? And in this case, there could be some of that, but I think used in the right context with the right guidance and prophylactically, it could be really useful to prevent sort of health decline, to catch things early, and also, and this is what I want to emphasize for the psychiatric part, to keep people on track, to keep people aware of what's happening with their bodies in terms of medication side effects, in terms of adverse effects, in terms of possible medication titration that needs to happen. And that's a feedback loop that I don't think has been fully connected into the system. Because when a patient leaves the hospital, yes, we like to try to set them up with a psychiatrist, but we all know well that, life's busy. And sometimes, because of a lot of factors, patients don't reliably go and see someone. And what ends up happening is a lot of people sort of fall off the cliff in terms of taking their medication, and they see these sort of downward spirals. And I know there's going to be, again, a lot of commentary on why medication. That's the only thing you're talking about. Well, there's a lot of other factors, but that's just one tool that a lot of practitioners use to address things from a psychiatric standpoint. And in a broader sense, I mean, this could go for the whole medical community. Patients in the past, sort of just go Wild West after they leave. They get some information, they start taking what's prescribed, or they don't. And until some other outcome happens, that's where the story ends. So, end rant, but basically I wanted to post this to sort of motivate myself to get my head in the game and to, while I continue my job, also start thinking critically about how to improve the system, how to leverage some of these tools we have as humans now that are becoming really, really advanced. If you haven't played around with ChatGPT, or you haven't played around with like Google Gemini or Anthropic's Claude, where you can literally just like vibe code, look it up. It's incredible what we've been given. To me, it's like sort of like the first humans that started using stone tools just were leaps ahead of millions and millions of years of evolution and their predecessors. And I feel like something's happening here. Something has really been unlocked in terms of our ability as beings to just sort of create things out of thin air and put our wildest dreams and ambitions on the table. And that aside, I think it's really, really cool that we have a chance to sort of impact people in a cool way. And at the very least, entertain ourselves and learn. So this is for you, Nick. I'm going to post this. I want to make sure that I continue to stay curious and to stay verbose. I talk a lot, but I do want to make sure I am leveraging these tools and working on myself at the same time. So I will see you. Let me know your thoughts. And if anyone else is interested, please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you.